carry that one for a ways, man. At least till Friday. And we'll still shoot for you guys' endorsement. It's just gonna go hands down. Just let them have it. Yeah. All right, I got you guys. That's that mentality.
Friday concede.
Yeah. Already. See that right there?
Like 2 minutes.
I'm not
Or 1 minute.
give you guys any fuel.
Camera. There we go. Melanie.
No, because I mean,
Okay. Not yet. I'm gonna talk.
let her be comfortable. You know what?
Just make it wider, right?
He just walked away. Okay. Okay, I guess I'm zooming out.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm gonna address the camera and let people know that are watching the live stream what we're doing, what's changed from tonight from last night, and then sort of explain what we're trying to do to make sure that we don't have any blackouts like we did last night. So I'm gonna talk to the camera, and you guys will all hear me because I'm talking to this microphone. Okay, ready? You ready? Bonjour. We are now live streaming at this event, and I'm going to take a couple of minutes here and explain what happened last night. I've written some stuff down, so I'm just going to read those things, all right? My name is Chad Gurman. My family's from District 3, if you don't know me. My company, Red Circle, has been asked by Government Affairs to help with the live streaming of these events. Last night was our first time ever doing something like this, both for Mille Lacs Band and for us as a company. We've never done this before. We made a rookie mistake last night. We trusted the Wi-Fi to carry the live stream, and it failed us. Same as when you're in your house and your Netflix signal doesn't work, it's the same sort of thing. The Wi-Fi didn't work, and so we had some blackouts, and I apologize for that. Tonight, we've tried to make a change to fix that. We have a 200-foot cord, and we plugged ourselves into the data system here at the community center. Unfortunately, there's a firewall, and we're not able to push up through that data cord. We are attached to a little Wi-Fi device that hopefully will carry this. If it does not, if there are failures, tonight we are recording everything also, so we'll have a full recording of this entire event. And at the end of the night, if there's any blackouts, we'll post the whole recording in full later tonight. So you'll have the whole event. So again, I apologize for the mistakes last night. We should have it remedied one way or the other tonight. Miigwech. I'd also like to say that, as I said, this live stream is only as good as the internet connection. And so tomorrow night, the next night, Friday night, not sure what our internet connection is going to be like. And so we may not be able to live stream. Hopefully we can, but if we can't, we're going to be recording these and we'll upload them later in the evening. So if it doesn't happen on time, it means we had a bad internet connection, and we'll load it later in the evening and you can catch it the next morning. Thank you.
Anin to those on a live stream. I feel like I'm louder. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to start off. All of the band's forums will be conducted with the utmost respect and fairness to all candidates. The candidate forums function separately from the band's election process. If you have any questions about the election process, please contact the election judges. The purpose of these forums are to inform and educate voters about the candidates and key issues facing the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, to offer candidates the opportunity to inform voters of their qualifications for office, positions on key issues, and plans should they be elected, and to further inform and educate the candidates of the key issues facing the Mille Lacs Band. Today's forum is for the candidates running for the Mille Lacs Band Chief Executive. The candidates receive forum guidelines informing them of the format and components of this event. The guidelines are also available at the table near the entrance. Please take a moment to review them if you haven't done so. I'll quickly give an overview of the forum tonight. Each candidate has signed in and their names will be drawn from a hat to determine the order of opening statements. Closing statements will occur in reverse order. All candidates are allowed to remain in the forum area during the opening and closing statements. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to make an opening statement and 3 minutes to make a closing statement. A timekeeper will be seated in the front row and will signal the candidates with timing cards when 1 minute remains, 30-second remains, 15-second remains, and when their time expires. While the candidates make their opening statements, constituents in attendance are invited to submit written questions on the index cards provided. Pens are also provided, so please raise your hand now if you need a pen and we'll make sure to get one to you. Questions must be addressed to all candidates. All questions must be submitted by placing them in the box. The time to submit questions will close when all candidates have completed their opening statements. Following opening statements, the candidates will be escorted to a quiet waiting room while the forum team works with the moderators to review and coordinate questions for the candidates. That team includes Native Governance Center Program Manager April Deal McKenzie and Program Director Jamie Davis. April and Jamie, if you'd wave. The question screen, to complete the question screen team, we will ask for 2 volunteers from the community to work with Jamie and April. These volunteers must reside within the District 2A community. We'll also have a timekeeper, and we'll ask for a volunteer from the District 2A community to keep time for each of the candidates. The questions will be collected and reviewed by screeners. Screening prevents duplication and ensures the questions are respectful, balanced, pertinent to the election, and addressed to all candidates and not personal. As moderator, I will make final determination as to the appropriateness of questions. Candidates and constituents are asked to respect that determination. At this time, I will ask for 2 people from the District 2A community to volunteer on the forum team to help screen questions. If several people volunteer, we'll put your names in a hat and we'll draw. Do I have volunteers? I have 1 volunteer, 2 volunteers. No other volunteers? If you'll please go give your names to Jamie. I will now ask for 1 volunteer from the District 2A community to be our timekeeper. Again, if several people volunteer to keep time, we will draw 1 name. Can I have a volunteer for timekeeper? All right. Oh, yep. Please go give your name to Jamie. Oh yeah, and the timekeeper gets the front row seat. So we will present 3 questions to the candidates tonight. Candidates will be invited individually into the forum to respond to the questions. Each candidate will have up to 1 minute to respond to each question. The timekeeper will signal the candidates with timing cards when 30 seconds remain, when 15 seconds remain, and as time expires. Once the candidate finishes answering the questions, he or she will go back to the waiting area while the next candidate responds. When all candidates have finished the question answer section, I'll invite all of the candidates back into the room, and they'll each have an option to provide a closing statement. Closing statements will again be 3 minutes and made in reverse order of the opening statements. The timekeeper will again alert each candidate for this 3-minute time period when 1 minute remains, 30 seconds remain, 15 seconds remain, and when time expires. The forum will conclude promptly following the last closing statements. In fairness to everyone involved, it is vitally important to conduct ourselves in a positive and respectful manner during the forum. Following are the rules to adhere to. Please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices and keep usage to an absolute minimum. If you must make a call, please leave the candidate forum meeting area. Recording of any time on your personal device is prohibited. Please respect that rule. If it looks like you're using your phone to make a recording, we'll come up and ask you to please shut it off. The audience will give each candidate an opportunity to be heard. This is not a community meeting. Comments from the audience will not be accepted. A table for campaign materials is provided outside for the candidates. No campaign materials are allowed to be on display in the forum meeting area. This forum is not a rally or a debate. In deference to our limited time, please hold applause until the end of the event. Timelines and rules will be strictly followed, and the forum will end promptly as scheduled. Childcare is not provided, so please keep a watchful eye on the little ones here tonight. All candidates have agreed to follow the format and rules established for these candidate forums. I, as the moderator, have the authority to adjust the rules as needed if unexpected circumstances arise. Candidates, please keep in mind that as moderator, I mean no disrespect if I interrupt you when your time is up. Miigwech. At this time, I'll introduce the candidates for Chief Executive. Excuse me. Curtis Leroy Kalk, Juanetta Joe Thompson, Melanie Ann Benjamin, Carolyn Marie Bolio, Ronald Dean Davis, and not yet here with us tonight, Tanya Ray Abed. We will now draw for the order of opening statements. Can I please have a volunteer from the audience to assist with the drawing? All right. Oh. Close. So again, that order is going to be Ron Davis, Juanetta Thompson, Melanie Benjamin, Carolyn Bolio, Kurt Kalk. And I know we all like to clap, so really quick, let's give a round of applause to our volunteers tonight. All right. Now, no more applause to the end. Candidates, you will each receive 3 minutes to make your opening statements. At this time, I'd like to introduce first Ron Davis.
Oh,
On in. Chitinini, Naben way into Shinakaz. Daga, we do call Shinama. We wene. Jianjis to Duyan. Jio da Pinaman. Gigash Katuziwan. Jidea Pichi Deayan. Nibabakayan. Jianjis to Duyan. Gigash Katuziwan. Gikandenan. You oh, I'm here in front of you. I'm gonna be running for you guys as leader. I'm gonna talk about restructuring the way our government is run right now because we're not equal. The way that things are going right now, we have somebody that's kind of controlling the way that we should be able to spend our money. Each one of us should be able to have a say in the way that our money is spent. Our system now is based on the United States government. The United States government has three branches of government, which is the chief executive, the judicial branch and the legislative branch. We're just like them. If we continue to follow that way, we're going to lose our sovereignty as Anishinaabe. It keeps infringing on our sovereignty. We need to change that. We need to go our own direction. We need to stop holding the government's hand and waiting for their approval on the way that we make our laws. If we go our own way, it's a way of bringing back the way that we lived a long time ago. When we do that, that's going to save us. It's going to save our way of life. We only have a little bit of time, and this is going to be my only time running for you guys. And I'll be your leader, and I'll make sure that things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. I'll be able to say, Beka, when it's time to wait. And I'll be able to know what's right by listening to the elders. Thank you. Miigwech. That's all right.
Thank you. Up next, Juanetta Thompson.
Buju, Wabash Kanakudukwe, Indigenicas. Good evening, everyone. My name is Juanetta Thompson. I am, my mom and dad are Myron and Cheryl Garbo. My grandparents are Georgiana Day, Simon Day, or not Simon Day, excuse me. Well, he was too. James Bolio Sr., John Jr., and Nancy Ann Garbo. I lived in District 1 of Mille Lacs all my life until I moved to Hinckley in 1992 when we opened up Grand Casino Hinckley. I live in Hinckley with my husband Anton. We've been married for 25 years. We have 3 daughters, Lekora, Kyra, and Tori. I have a bachelor's degree in business. On March 29th, I'll have worked for the casino for 29 years. I currently serve as the assistant general manager at Hinckley and have been since 2017. I am looking for an opportunity to utilize the experience I've gained while working at the casino and the knowledge that I gained while I was attending college. My dream is that every band member is living their best life, and I can facilitate that by bringing accountability, efficiencies, and effectiveness to the programs and services that we offer. I am ready to serve my tribe, and I want what is best for you. My work ethic at the casino has been excellent throughout my career. This year, we budgeted about $67 million, just Hinckley only, about $67 million to send to the tribe for distribution, which is part of the revenue allocation plan that I don't know if you guys are familiar, but 25% of that goes to base government spending. So just, I'll talk about that a little bit later. Along with my team at Hinckley, we're responsible to ensure that we bring that $67 million to the band. Again, this is only Hinckley, and the people that run the casinos, the VPs and the directors, they all report to me and the general manager, so we're responsible to ensure that they're held accountable to provide the service, provide that money to the band so that we can provide the services to you. With my business background, I look at things a little bit differently. We need to determine how we can make our government more efficient, look at ways to make programs more effective, and hold people accountable in the areas accountable to results. But I need your help. I am here today asking for your vote. I know I can make a difference. Please provide me this opportunity, and I will use everything that I learned while working at the casinos to help make a positive impact on our government. Miigwech. Sorry, it's broken.
Next candidate, Melanie Benjamin.
Buju, Ani Anishinaabe Duke, Mino Gijigan, Mandamin, Indigo Melanie Benjamin. And today is a good day, and I'm happy to see everyone. I want to say miigwech to the volunteers and the cooks and for all of the band members that came out today. But I want to send a special shout out to all of our students that are here today. And that is really a privilege for you to be here to be a part of this election forum campaign discussion. And I think it's really important because I'm going to send a little message to you as the youth, because you are the future for the Mille Lacs Band. And what I would like to ask and give advice to you is to learn our value system. And when we talk about the value system, that is the teachings that our ancestors have passed down to us since the beginning of time. And those value systems have sustained us, and they have made us very strong as we go along. And when we talk about those value systems, if you have those and understand and practice them, I think that you are going to be one of the best people around. And when we talk about that, those value systems is honesty, humility, truth, wisdom, love, compassion, respect, bravery, and compassion and courage. And so I think it's, as we talk about some of the issues today, and what I would like to ask is that when you hear all of us that are here as candidates talk and bring up issues, that you take the time to learn about those topics and to find the truth in those, and to make sure that when we are talking that you keep us accountable about these issues. And so I just wanted to send a message out to the youth, and I'm very proud that you're here, and thank you for coming, and the coordinators that brought them. I am your chief executive, and it is my honor and my privilege to serve you and also to protect the sovereign status of the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, and also to promote the general welfare of the band member. And that's very important when we talk about that, is because we have made great historical strides for the band, and one of the biggest ones in our modern history is that we were able to achieve the federal government and the state government to recognize our boundaries, and that means that our homelands are safe for the future. And we need you as well to help us secure that future by getting the best education that you can, other band members to be a part of the success. Miigwech.
Next candidate, Carolyn Bolio.
Good evening, Chimney Singh. I'm Carolyn Bolio. Happy to be here tonight. Thank you for coming out and listening to our candidate forum tonight. I'm going to get right to the point. I am running for chief executive because we have a crisis, and I know this community is affected by it as well. We have hundreds of children in out-of-home placements, and it's mostly because of the heroin epidemic. We've got hundreds of overdoses. We've got dozens of deaths. There's also problems with people getting kicked out of their homes, them homes getting boarded up. Those people go to the homeless list. Sorry, I can't say that one. So we got homelessness, boarded up homes, children in out-of-home placement. Even those kids are going to non-band member families, and visitations aren't set up. Our grandparents and our family members aren't good enough to take those children in. I don't know what policies they're following in family services, but they're not the ones that we approved in that law that we passed, or we made some revisions back in 2016, 17, 18. We worked on that for a long time, the former band assembly. Title 8, Chapter 13, it's Children's and Families. I know that we added language in there to make family services perform active efforts in keeping families together. I know we put language in there that they had to consider WAS and extended family members before they take those families off the reservation. I know we put those things in there, and then I heard it was rescinded, and I don't even know where that's at now. But I just know that's failing us. It's tearing apart our families. It's tearing apart our future. These children, where are they going to be in 20 years? So that's why I'm running, is because of that. I'm also running because I think we need to enforce tribal employment rights. I've worked at the casino. I started there in 2000. worked in band member development, trying to get band members to maintain their employment, get promoted, and it was just a struggle every day. Then I moved across the street as commissioner. I worked with the Department of Labor to get them to try to work with the casinos and our businesses to get band members employed. And again, little effort. And then I went to as secretary treasurer. We took Taro, passed the bill that moved it to a standalone entity so it could then enforce tribal employment rights across the board. And as far as I know, I still don't think any of that's happening. Until those policies change, we can sit up here and talk all about how great it will be once it happens, but it's not going to happen. We also need to get the leaders and managers in those positions that will make these things happen and who care about band members' rights and the outcome and how these programs are being operated. I also, as your chief executive, would take complaints that are unaddressed. My commissioners will have to address complaints. They can't just ignore their phone calls. They have a duty to address band members' complaints on programs that aren't working or are ran poorly. So that's why I'm running, and I really hope that you guys would consider me using your vote on me. I would also like to bring back the small business development program. We had that in the 90s, early 2000s, and there was a few successful band members who were able to start businesses. I think we could have a lot more doing that.
Our next candidate, Kurt Kalk.
Okay. Hi, Sammy. Hi, Marie. Good evening, everybody. You all look pretty quiet after eating. You're outside all day like me. I was out cutting wood with the kids for maple syrup. And that's kind of what I do. If you don't know me, a lot of you do. I see familiar people, familiar faces of people I know. I spend my time in my off time. I make my own beadwork. I make my own winnowing baskets. They told me to stand closer. Okay, and I harvest my own wild rice and finish it. I do things like that. And during the day, I also work with kids all day and youth and teach them what they need to learn about being outdoors. I get lost when I look at my notes. I got really bad handwriting. But anyway, I spend time doing that. And I would also approach the chief executive position the same way, and with the same principles. I'm the kind of guy that just gets busy and starts working. I'm not good at public speaking. I'm not great at that. I'm sure over time I would be better. But I like to spend my time doing stuff. I'm a doer. If somebody comes in front of me and asks a question, I don't pick up the phone and say who's going to call and see if I can get an answer. I don't send an email. I've had other employees laugh at me because I get up and walk down the hallway and get the answer. That's the kind of guy I am. I'd rather walk down, see their face, get an answer, and that brings me to the next subject of program administrators. In each district, there's a program administrator. They answer to a commissioner. That stifles them, and that gives them a little bit of a difficulty on giving your community feedback to where it needs to be at the chief executive's office to do better with programs. I would change their job descriptions to say that they answer directly to the chief executive. I would ask that they attend every APB. Somewhere along the line that got lost. If somebody don't know what that is, that's an admin policy board that does programs. Without that community input, we've got a gap in our government. The district representatives hear their voice, but they don't have a lot of say about programs until they're in front of them for funding, but there may be some part missing that doesn't serve a community all the way. And that's really important, because getting a voice directly to the top of the list is really important. With that, in this community, I see a lot of trouble with transportation. I'd like to quadruple that and have at least 5 numbers you can call in a day to help you get to where you need to be. I got 30 seconds. So I'm asking for your vote, a vote to move us into a different era, a more accountable era, an era that we can start looking at each other and helping one another more often. I see a lot of people that just need service. They just need help with what they need to do. And getting them there, I'm the kind of guy that wants to get the work done. I want to look at our policies and fix them and make them better for us. Housing policies need to be updated along with... Okay.
Thank you. Whoa, thank you, candidates. At this time, we're going to take an estimated 10-minute break to go through the questions and organize. Candidates, if you'll please follow Sheena, she'll escort you back to the sequester room. If I can get the volunteers question screeners to go with Jamie and April into the other room there. 10-minute break. Thank you. Just hang on. You can set them right there. That'll be fine. Just a quick note before we get started. So we as Native Governance Center struggle with microphones. We have some evaluations at the front table as well. If you guys are bored, I know no one likes to fill out evaluations, but if you wouldn't mind filling those out for us, answering the questions, it helps us improve our process as we do these things. So you can see April up front for the evaluations. Wow, listen to that excitement about evaluations. You guys are pumped. I'll try not to. We'll start just in a couple minutes. Okay, we're ready to go. Welcome back. We've organized the questions and are ready to proceed. We will follow the same order as the opening statements. Candidates not speaking will be sequestered during the question and answer phase. They've gone back, and Ron Davis will be up first. All right, Mr. Davis, for those watching on live, and I'll remind everybody, you'll get 3 questions. You'll get 1 minute to respond to each question. The time will start when you start talking to answer your question. The timer will let you know when there's 30 seconds remaining, when there's 15 seconds remaining, and when your time expires. Your first question is, what is or will be your selection process for cabinet leadership appointed positions?
Pick leaders in the community. We have proud veterans. We have people that have been in midday. Also, other ones that have been to college. You know, mostly to pick someone with a true heart. Be able to pick these community members. Each one of us know of someone, and them people will be already picked. Their destiny has already happened, you know. So we'll be able to pick and choose. They'll be out there, and they'll already be known. So it's not up to me. It's up to the community.
Go ahead and reset the timer to 1 minute. Sorry. How will you combat the opioid epidemic on our reservation? 1 minute.
That's the easy one. That's the easy one. We're people. We're highly addictive people, and what we're looking for is happiness. Those that are into drugs really hard they're masking a pain that we carry. Each one of us carry that pain of it's a burden. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a burden that we carry as Anishinaabe people. And the way to combat that is to put something in front of us in the community where we have fun, where we get together like this, and we get to laugh. You know, that's the easy thing. Just have community involvement. That's the way I see that. You know, we're gonna overcome this thing. It's a really easy thing to overcome. We just have to have the community events.
All right, reset the timer to 1 minute. Third question. What is your vision for Isles economic development?
There's another easy one. It has to do with the same thing. Bring about the community involvement. You know, each one of us get involved with whether it's the certain time of season, whatever season it is, you know, and that's how we get involved. We find out who has a certain experience in this area, a certain experience in this area. That's who we call on. Okay, being able to know who has the right experience in that area. We're gonna have a central location for you guys to be able to dispatch what's going on daily. You go there and you get your instructions and be able to get your direction from that person in that is the lead of your community.
If you'll please go with Jamie back to the sequester room. Next will be Juanetta Thompson. All right, so again, last year, you guys, if you remember me being here, I told jokes, not gonna do that, because I'm not funny on Livestream. So, I will remind you though, that there are the evaluations up front. We really do use your feedback, and so we appreciate anybody taking time to fill out the evaluations, even if you say you talk about evaluations too much. That's good feedback to get, so. Welcome back, Juanetta Thompson. I'll remind you, Juanetta, we're going to ask 3 questions tonight. You'll get 1 minute to respond to each question. The timer will signal you with 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time ends. Your first question: what is or will be your selection process for cabinet leadership appointed positions?
That is a good question. Well, first of all, one, I'd have to determine, right, depending on who's currently in the position, and then make a determination if they're meeting the needs of the people and also meeting the needs of the position. So I'm getting feedback. So that's how I would handle that. I wouldn't go in and make a bunch of changes because a lot of them are band members, but they need to be held accountable if they're not meeting the needs of the people, if they're not being held accountable for the things that they do within their department, right? Like, let's use an example of the clinic up in District 1. How long's that been sitting there empty, not being utilized? I don't know. I don't know how long it's been. Has anybody gotten any communication regarding that? So that's what I mean when I'm talking about accountability. I want to make sure that we're holding people accountable.
Thank you. Second question: how will you combat the opioid epidemic on our reservation?
Yesterday, I don't know if you guys watched the live stream, but hello, can you guys hear me? Yesterday, I talked a little bit about the supportive services that we have. You know, there's houses up in District 1 on the Loop. There's houses over in Hinckley that are right behind the ALU that are sitting empty, along with all the other boarded up houses. Somehow, we need to get supportive services to provide the services that can help the people. You know, giving them a house, providing them with different things that they can do on a daily basis to curb that drug epidemic. You know, keep them busy. We need, maybe there's meditation classes, maybe there's psychology or a psychologist that comes in and talks to them. There's AA meetings. There's different things happening every night that would help them stay away from the people that are constantly.
Third question, what is your vision for Isles economic development?
One of the things that I was thinking about in regards to even all districts is, and I know this sounds simple, but like a strip mall for people, for band members to have their own business. It's hard for band members to go out and buy a building or whatever because they don't have the capital to do it. So if we can provide it from a small business perspective, maybe corporate provides a building and we can put people in there, provide a strip mall and put in a restaurant. I mean, we have artists that can sell their beadwork there. Dawn Day, you guys like her fry bread. We don't have to wait for the powwow for her. She can own her own restaurant. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities that we can do if we just put the money where it needs to be put. You know, focus on the things that we need here at home. Focus on us. We don't need to focus on all these big things, win awards, go out to Washington and schmooze.
Thank you, Juanetta. Melanie Benjamin will be next. Ooh, I know. Let's get some applause in. Round of applause for Red Circle Agency helping us live stream the event tonight and record. Okay, Chad got all red. Welcome back, Melanie Benjamin. Melanie, I'll remind you, we'll ask 3 questions tonight. You'll get 1 minute to respond. The time will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when there's 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires. The first question is, what is or will be your selection process for cabinet leadership appointed positions?
I have made selections for my cabinet on many occasions, and it always has been band members. It's just the past band assembly that I probably put forward 10 band members to be ratified, and they were all denied. And that was the only time through the history of being chief executive where band members were not first priority, but they're always first priority with me. And if you look at my cabinet right now, currently, they're band members, and we're also looking at mentor programs to make sure that we prepare for future leadership, that education on the job, training, and also hard knock school of education where we have to learn from our mistakes. But my priority always is band members.
Go to reset the timer. Second question. How will you combat the opioid epidemic on our reservation?
Number one, we need all of the band members to be a part of the solution. And we have a Four Winds treatment center that we purchased from the state so we could have a more culturally focused treatment. And we have our tribal members work there that are working with our people addicted. We also need to teach our children of all the negative consequences of using drugs. We have to also identify, and we all know who they are, the people in our communities that are selling drugs to each of us or each other, and that has caused a devastation on our reservation because families have been now broken apart and children have been put in other homes because the mothers or the dads are not able to take care of them. So we have to come together as a whole. Every one of us have to commit to making sure that we're a part of that. Any kind of medical treatment, any of those types of things are necessary.
All right, third question. What is your vision for Isles economic development?
Currently in the works is a bread company, and just along the edge of 4027 there is where there's a proposal into the band assembly to do a bread company currently, just to make sure that some jobs can be created. And that proposal is currently with the band assembly, and so now we're waiting to make sure that hopefully that all the questions are answered by the band assembly that that they want the commissioner to answer, that to make sure that we know. And there's been numerous business proposals that have been submitted to the band assembly, and so we have to just make sure that all of their questions are answered, making sure all the financing's in place, and we want to move forward on making sure there's economic development, business development in all districts.
Please follow Jamie back. Jamie, if you could bring Carolyn Bolio. I think there's more cake up there, more drinks. Save me a corner piece of the cake, please. I really like frosting. Welcome back, Carolyn Bolio. Carolyn, I'll remind you, we're going to ask 3 questions. You'll get 1 minute to respond to each question. The timer will signify you when you have 30 seconds left, 15 seconds left, and as your time expires. First question, what is or will be your selection process for cabinet leadership appointed positions?
Well, when I first get in, I'm going to meet with the current cabinet commissioners and see if they're going to be in line with what my vision is for the position, because I believe that all band members have something valuable to offer to the band. So if they're educated and they're committed and they in line with what I would like treating band members fairly and making sure that policies are followed and things like that, you know, could keep them around if they want to stay, or if we can discuss other areas within government that they'd like to go. And if I do have to replace a commissioner, I would probably post. And I want to hunt down all the band members that have degrees, because I know that we've been funding scholarships for many years, and I know we got a lot of master's and bachelor's degrees out there. So I'd like to recruit those educated band members to come back and work for the tribe.
Go ahead and reset the timer. Second question, how will you combat the opioid epidemic on our reservation?
Okay, well, that's a big one. I kind of mentioned it's become a crisis. And what I would like to do as chief is declare a state of emergency because of that, because of the results. We've got the homelessness, we've got overdoses, deaths, and everything is affecting each other. So we need to take a holistic approach, address the homelessness, the drug epidemic. We need a place for people when they're after recovery, they get out and they just come back to the same environment. There isn't intense enough programs to keep them sober. And I know that not everybody's going to want to be sober, but they have to want to be. So we're just going to have to do our best as community members to help our family as much as we can and convince them that the sober life is the way to go and the safest thing for their families to grow.
All right, third question. What is your vision for Isles economic development?
Okay, well, it's been a couple of years since I've been out here speaking with the community, so I'd definitely like to come back out, talk with your district rep again and see what's been happening in the last 2 years. I know when I was Secretary Treasurer, we were looking to the corporate commissioner to develop some businesses here in the Isle community. I think they're looking at a bakery right now. We bought that building in Isle. It was supposed to become a dialysis facility, and I don't know where that's at. I know that dialysis is a huge service that a lot of our band members need, and they have to travel far for that. So finding out what's going on with that dialysis clinic, supporting corporate on searching for more businesses, reaching out to you guys. Maybe you guys got some business ideas. Small business development program, we can offer loans to band members who are educated and ready to start their own businesses on and off reservation. There's a lot of things we can be doing, we're just not doing it. Oh, miigwech.
Thank you, Carolyn. Jamie will take you back. Jamie, please bring Kurt Kalk out. All right, I'm gonna be that guy. Evaluations, still at the front table. Please grab one, fill it out. Miigwech. Welcome back, Kurt Kalk. Kurt, I'll remind you, 3 questions tonight. You'll have 1 minute to respond. Time will start when you start talking. Timer will signal you when you have 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires. First question. What is or will be your selection process for cabinet leadership appointed positions?
My selection process for that would be post it like it's supposed to be. Post the job and pick the best person for the job, the best band member for the job. That's how I do it. The former, or I should say, the current chief executive, I shouldn't say former, said she does not supervise them at the State of the Band address. Then I don't know who does. And I would supervise them. I would absolutely supervise them. Not to a critical point of doing what I want, but supervise them to make sure that they're getting out there and listening to what you want and hearing what you say, and have them be fair and consistent and treat band members with respect and the service they deserve. The biggest part is be fair. Be nice to people. Don't be mean to them, and don't be rude.
Second question. How will you combat the opioid epidemic on our reservation?
If I had that answer, I'd sell it nationwide because we'd make $1 million as a tribe. That's a big issue everywhere. And I think, I looked at my sons. It takes each family to look at them and just say, what do I got to do to show you I care? That doesn't mean enable them. That doesn't mean get them a tank of gas. But look at them. I often wonder, what is it? It's a chemical addiction. It alters their brain. They do things you didn't teach them. I know all about it. I think a lot of family support is needed. Don't turn your back on them. Don't give up on them. I would say every family has a matriarch. Find out who their matriarch is. Find out who that favorite uncle is, and get them to them. Somehow we get our programs, get too many licensed professionals, when maybe they just need to talk to their favorite aunt or uncle. And that's helped a lot of people. I've seen a lot of young people, even in school, come across that, and it made a difference. And every one of you knows somebody in your family that you can go to and tell the stuff that your parents probably wouldn't want to hear.
Third question. What is your vision for Isles economic development?
I missed the second word.
What is your vision for Isles economic development?
I haven't had much time to look at that, really. I know they bought a few properties in town here, and they bought a couple in Waukon. I'm not sure the reasoning behind Waukon or why Isle. I don't know how much input this community had in that decision. There was a lot of money spent to buy property in a neighboring town. When you guys are in Isle, why would you buy land in Waukon? And that's one of the things I look at to say, I can change the way that works. And that is talk to the people in this community first. Say, what do you need? Corporate has a bakery they're building. I don't know how many of you get up at 4 in the morning and bake bread. but that's not going to help you economically or in your jobs that much. So I would say I'd come to the community, ask them, what do you want? What would you look for that would really help you in this community? What do you see fits? Because we've got a blend. We've got kind of a retirement, a lot of retired. We also have a lot of young people, and we have middle people. So we got an in between in this community. It's good to see. So I would ask you guys, what do you want to do? I would. Okay. I only get rolling afterwards, so when I start, I stutter.
All right. We'll now welcome back all the other candidates. Jamie, please go grab them. You're welcome to grab your seat. All right. Welcome back. Candidates will now be given an opportunity to give their closing statements. They'll have 3 minutes for the closing statements. So grab your minute once again. The time will start when you start talking. The timer will signify when you have 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and then let you know when your time expires. We're going to go in reverse order. So up first will be Kurt Kalk.
I wasn't ready for that, but I am now. I get better when I get rolling, okay? I start slow. That's how arguments start at home. You make a few smart remarks, and pretty soon you get rolling, right? Okay, so that's kind of the way I am, and it kind of turns out that way because I got two brothers that want to beat me up. All right, so I want to say, it's a time for a chance to change things, and it's a really scary time for people. It's a scary time because that name you select and that mark you make is a decision you have to live with for 4 years. And we've got candidates with experience, we've got candidates that are new, we've got all different types of candidates. And we got some candidates maybe just want to fight, I don't know. But I think the important thing is to say that really look at that candidate list and look at it, especially my name. And think about the guy that I am and the guy that I've been. And if you've ever walked alongside me, and I look at everybody's face here, I don't think there's anybody here that I could call my enemy or somebody that I've tried to ever do anything wrong to or track them down or did anything terrible. But you need to look at that person and say, is that the person that's going to treat my kid right when he walks in the door? Is he going to treat my kid like he treats his kid and really be fair to him? And as parents and as young parents and grandparents, we want to make sure that our children are treated that same way. And I want to be that person to make sure that them departments and them people are doing that. When your kid walks in that door and they don't get the answer and they don't get the help they need filling out an application, I want to be there, the guy to say, why not? Why not? Because you better do the right job for them. You deserve the service. The band's got a lot of money put into government service. We spend a lot of money. Last night I said $65,000 an hour. That's pretty easy to figure out. 2,080 hours, work hours a year, double it, that's your 135 million. So we should get some pretty good service out of that deal. I just think it's important. And in this community here, I know that there's no child care. And we got to start divvying up the money a little bit different. There's a lot of young parents here. If we talk about economics and growing in this community, then we should also talk about how they're going to have their children taken care of. We've got a big one over in District 1. We've got a huge place for kids to take care of, but I see there isn't one here. And I know this has always been kind of like people say the forgotten community. I'll say the same thing I did about the urban office as I did or I will here. I will come here once every 2 weeks. I will sit here all day long in an office that people can talk to me and tell me what's wrong. Spend the time with me, walk in the door, you'll have that access. I'll ask Mandy to shove over if I got her and sit there. But I want to hear it. I want to hear what it is. I want to hear exactly everything. I want to hear what you think economic development ideas are. Thank you.
Next candidate for closing remarks, Carolyn Bolio.
Thank you, everyone, again for coming tonight. These forums they're not enough to allow the candidates to express everything they stand for. So I really encourage you to read my flyers, go on my Facebook page, read all of my information there, ask me questions, attend my meet and greet I'm having here for District 1 in Isle at the Oname Vets Club on March 18th, next Wednesday from 5 to 8. There'll be some delicious food there, and we're working on a couple cold door prizes. So please do that. But I described to you why I'm running, because of the crisis. And I don't think I mentioned the addict intervention program that I think would be helpful, where we know we have a family member who's struggling with addiction, just can't get up enough courage to go in, or having just too many issues. Family members can petition the court to get that person court-ordered treatment. And I know it could work. It's just that we need to work with the courts and all the departments involved to make that happen. Tribal employment rights. I mentioned, I worked at different areas of the government trying to force band member development, but it just hasn't worked. I thought as Secretary Treasurer I'd for sure be able to get something done with moving Taro, but now it's sitting there looking at revisions again. I don't know who's running the program or what efforts are being made. Taro should be at the casinos. I worked over there and watched band members get passed over, fired, for attendance, for going to attending someone's funeral. They got fired. And that's still happening today. There's a glass ceiling over there that many band members can't get past. I want to be chief so I can change those policies and make sure that the commissioners in those are overseeing those are working towards band member success everywhere. Even in the cities, we got 3 hotels down there. Any band members down there working or running them? No. What about the hotel in Oklahoma City? What's going on there? There's a lot of things going on. We're spending a lot of money, but we'd still have too much suffering, way too much suffering. I have close family members who lost their children to family services and to drugs. We dealt with states and counties taking our ancestors away to boarding schools. Now we're dealing with our own tribal courts taking away our children. So please, we need change, and I'm asking for your vote on March 31st. Miigwech.
Next candidate, Melanie Benjamin.
Miigwech for coming out tonight and listening. And I know there's a lot of more conversation that we could have on all the issues that we have facing us today. And there are some big issues, and one of the questions was the opioid crisis and the folks that are contributing to that negativity on the band who are selling the drugs and people coming in. We have to really make that known who those people are, because we do have to protect our kids. And all of these things are that negative impact of all this behavior. We really do need to change that. And so I humbly ask for your vote on March 31st. And I pledge to continue to fight for the reservation boundaries to make sure that nobody comes and attacks those. I pledge to make sure that we continue our programs that support our band members. And what I'd like to talk about too, I think each of us are responsible to carry somebody along with us and to make sure that when they're ready to stand on their 2 feet, that we have provided them what they need. And that's when we look at and we talk to the band members, we find out what are your issues and what do you want? How can we do that as a government to support you? And that's what I pledge to do, to make sure that the solutions are right here. We all have the solutions, but we need to work together to make sure that we get those out for all of us, for our youth, all our youth that are here today learning about a little bit. And then I also want to pledge to you youth, if you're interested, I'd like to be able to talk to you about our treaties. What is our history? Who is that, our ancestors that fought for us today so that we're here? You come from a strong line of very powerful and strong ancestors, and that's in all of our blood. Let's get together and really come up with the best solutions for all of us, and making sure that if somebody's down, we can help them and bring them along. And that's really hard because we've really changed over the years where we were one community, but now we're individuals. And people have their own families, their own issues, but let's take the time to step back and say, you are my relative, and I'm here to be a part of your solution. If you need my help, I want to be there. And that's what I pledge. I want to see leadership in our youth to make sure that one day they're the ones that are standing up here and asking for our vote so they can continue to make Mille Lacs band, the best tribe in this country. And a lot of people understand that our cultural heritage, our language, where did people come when they wanted it? They came here to Mille Lacs to learn, and that's who we are. And miigwech to all the second speakers out there that are learning the language. We had Adrian today that gave us that opening. Miigwech.
Next candidate, Juanetta Thompson.
All right. Earlier I talked about efficiencies but needing your help in regards to the programming. So by creating effective programs where you play a role in the design and implementation of the programs can address the problems plaguing our community. You know, the question you asked about the opioid epidemic, you know, we talk about supportive services and things that we need to help curb that problem. You know, every family has been affected by this in one way, shape, or form. My family has been affected personally. I've had family members that have been taken away. Their children have been taken away. My sister herself passed away because of opioid use. We've had a death in our family. So creating programs that will curb that and help our community strive and become vital again. You know, that's one of the things that I want to do. Once we determine what the issues are and how we want to address it, we need to use technology to create an efficiently run government. Once we have an efficiently run government, we can focus our efforts on how we can utilize the excess dollars that I talked about earlier when I said about the $67 million that the casino is going to send over, Hinckley Casino. If we save just 5% of that number, that's about 16 million bucks. Now, what we could use that money on is, you know, it could be endless. One of the things, if you choose me to be your chief executive and I create an efficiently run government, maybe that excess dollars can be used to give back to the community in some type of stimulus. You know, there's all kinds of different options in regards to how we can utilize that money. I have a meet and greet on March 15th at IREC from 12 to 2 p.m. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about was housing on our reservation. You know, I knocked on, I thought it was 309 doors, but after I counted my papers again, it was 350. I knocked on 350 doors the last couple weeks. And to see that the difference, the people are still living in poverty. How can people be living in poverty when we're such a rich tribe? That I don't understand. Let's get these programs under control, get them so that they're serving your needs and focus on you. That's what I want to do. And if you choose me as your chief executive, I will work hard. I will make things happen. I know I can do this. Thank you. Sorry. I can't grab them. Shush.
Our next candidate, Ron Davis.
When we, when I hear these other leaders talk, it almost gets my emotions to be angry, but I don't want to show you my anger. I want to be able to show you that I can be a positive leader on your behalf. When you have our leaders spending more money on the programs than they do on our band members, then you know that our government is bigger than it should be. We need to be able to slow everything down, equally distribute this money so that each one of us has a say in what direction we can go into. These programs only touch a few of us, only touch a few families. There's only a few programs like Circle of Health that affects everyone. We keep that. We keep garbage, sanitation. We need to break that down into just what we need and then distribute the rest for everyone, equally distributed amongst everyone, so that there's no one that goes without. This way of that we're living now, I'm barely getting by with this $933. What is that? That's just a drop in the bucket of what's going on out there. All this long-term savings that they got our money going into, it's like we're getting it put into a pot. The United States government is probably using this money to pay off the national debt or whatever it may be. But if we get that money back, we can invest it into gold or other different commodities, That way, if we can spend it and have it so that it can be worth something in the future. Thank you.
Miigwech to all the candidates. How about giving them all a round of applause? This concludes tonight's forum. I'd like to thank the candidates and the audience for participating. For your respect of the guidelines, it has been an honor and privilege to learn more about the candidates' thoughts, values, and visions for the Mille Lacs Band. Safe travels home. Good night.